Hello everybody, video here for you today. Host Matty Blake appears to be wearing the same shirt he wore in the opening of the Drilling Down episode that aired right before the season 11 premiere of The Curse of Oak Island back in November of 23, so this may have been filmed the exact same day. He says that the Laginas and their team have unearthed ancient structures, artifacts, and even valuables which suggests that a vast treasure is still buried on Oak Island and that the people that did it exerted extreme effort to do so and also to hide it. Rick, Marty, and their team are beginning to find that the answers may not only exist down below, but up above as well. This is the No Cap recap of The Curse of Oak Island Drilling Down, Season 10, Episode 9, aired April 9th, 2024, written in the stars. If you missed any of my recaps of the companion shows or main show, there's a link to my Oak Island playlist in the upper right. Rick, Marty, and members of the team meet with Matty Blake in the war room for a discussion about archaeoastronomy. This image of the Cygnus constellation overlaid on the island was presented to the team in Season 6, Episode 7, and I have coincidentally just completed that one in my retro no cap recap series. Link to that recap is in the upper right. Archaeoastronomy combines archaeology, astronomy, and anthropology to interpret how ancient cultures constructed megalithic monuments and even cities across all of the planet by lining up stones with certain stars in the night sky. Stonehenge was built to align with the summer and winter solstices. But Teotihuacan in Mexico and the Giza pyramids in Egypt were built to align with the constellation of Orion. We see what looks like part of the Libra constellation, but stretched and skewed in the sky, and then overlaying on the swamp on Oak Island. If you know what this actually is, let me know in the comments, please. It may just be a graphic just for understanding and not actually be an actual constellation. Maddie talks about that Season 6, Episode 7, and there being a boulder at 2 star points and the stone triangle at the third that they checked. Link in the upper right for that recap of that episode. Doug informs of Professor Gaspani's work on Nolan's Cross that reveals solar and stellar alignments, as well as for the stone piles on Lot 15 and the stone triangle that pointed to the money pit. He attributed all three to the Knights Templar in the 1200s AD. Rick, Tom, Alex, and Doug join Maddie at one of the Nolan's Cross boulders. They don't say which one. Tom says the boulders that make up the cross are the biggest ones on the island. Alex says that it's likely a Christian cross, and as he has been on every European field trip and has seen the common Templar / Oak Island symbols firsthand, that the Knights Templar theory has to be one of the top ones. Maddie reminds us of the Zena Halpern maps that fueled her Templar theory, and also of the numerous historic Europe sightings that match Oak Island. For example, these three: the Templar symbol with the 4 dots and the Oak Island HO stone, the cross carving seen in the Dome, France Templar prison 2 weeks before Rick and Gary found the matching lead cross in Smith's Cove, and the circle with a dot in it, a Templar and early Greek symbol for gold. On a 2022 trip to Italy, Professor Gaspani revealed his independent research that put the Nolan's Cross boulder placement to 1200 AD based on star alignments. Doug says that he immediately thought of things on the island that had been carbon dated to the same time, like this paved area in the swamp. And the well on lot 26 with the high silver content that doesn't freeze in the winter when everything else there does. and coconut fiber found by previous searcher groups. The closest coconut tree is 1,500 miles away from Oak Island. Jack, Steve, Charles, and Doug meet Maddie on the south shore, about 200 feet south of the Money Pit area. What exists there today is a recreation of the stone triangle found in 1897. The original was destroyed along with a number of other markers by Robert Dunfield's Big Dig in the 1960s. Fortunately, specific alignments and previous surveys recorded were able to give Steve the data to pinpoint the original location. That data was given to Professor Gaspani to use for his star alignment projections. The left and right sides of the stone triangle match the sunrise and sunset of the winter solstice. Anyone that would know how to do that means they would also know geometry and astronomy, which are documented as having been known by Templars. Based on that data and a true north projection, it goes right through the baby blob area in red, which is the area with the highest concentration of gold, silver, copper in the water samples. This graphic shows the baby blob and garden shaft, as well as the yellow outline of a tunnel that Dumas Contracting was trying to probe drill when they apparently pierced a flood tunnel 2 episodes ago in season 11. Maddie meets Rick, Tom, and Doug on lot 15. The pirate piles, previously talked about, were cone-shaped, described by some as pyramid-shaped. Piles of rocks arranged in a circle, according to Tom Nolan, who was shown them as a child by his father Fred. They get the name pirate piles because that's what they were called on an early survey by Fred. He discovered them more than a decade before discovering the cross formation that bears his name in 1981. Over the years, they have been displaced to see if anything was under them, so they are not like they were previously. Professor Gaspani, in addition to dating them in the 1200s, said there were multiple stellar alignments associated with the pirate piles. Afterwards, Gary and Jack metal detected around the piles and found the bottom lead fragment. It ended up being a compositional match for the artifact on top that was found several years ago on lot 13. That composition was traced to Scandinavia. In 2022, Gary and Jack found the copper artifact on lot 8 that was also traced to Scandinavia. Recently, the main show has presented information relating to Vikings and Templars working together, or at least sharing knowledge. The Vikings are documented as having settled in Lanza Meadows, Newfoundland, about 800 miles northeast of Oak Island, 500 years before Columbus got credit for discovering America. One theory is that the Vikings, who obviously made that journey, could have transported the Knights Templar even if they weren't involved in anything else. In the episode-ending interview with Rick and Marty Lagina, Maddie asked if they think the Knights Templar were involved, and they both say a version of, "I don't know, but it can't be ruled out." Marty said when he first set foot on the island, he thought nothing happened on the island and it was just collective madness. He no longer believes that. He goes on to say if the archaeoastronomy is correct and the Nolan's Cross boulders were placed in the 1200s, it would be mind-boggling. But he wants to be able to confirm it. To that end, he says, what we haven't done is not tip a boulder over, but lift it straight up and let the scientists determine whether a human or a glacier placed it there. They will do just that on the next episode of the main show called Cone E Island. You can see that preview in my Oak Island playlist, link in the upper right. Rick says if they are definitely human-placed boulders, someone did that for a reason, that it's not something you can take with you or that would be helpful to you. He goes on to say, think how clever it would be if the X on the ground is found via a star map. In conclusion, Maddie asks if they will be following up on ties to megalithic structure connections elsewhere, And Rick says yes, which we know is true because we just watched him go to France before this drilling down began. And next episode, the field trip goes to the Valkenburg Castle ruins in the Netherlands. I'll continue recapping season 11 of The Curse of Oak Island late Tuesday nights through the spring, as well as continue to do retro recaps of seasons 6 through 8. Seasons 1 through 5, 9, 10, and the aired episodes of season 11 are already done and are in my Oak Island playlist. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment.